2,000 years ago, a small city on the banks of the Tiber River rose to dominate the world. Not with magic, not with miracles, but with a system so powerful, the world still follows it today. Rome didn't just build an empire. Rome built the blueprint of global power. When Rome started, it was nothing. A tiny village surrounded by stronger kingdoms, no gold, no massive army, no technology. And yet, this small republic would rise to control Europe, Africa, and Asia. It would build roads that still exist today, armies the world feared, and laws still used in modern governments. But the question is simple. How did Rome do it? How did one city become the world's first true superpower? Welcome to Kings and Capital, where history reveals the secrets of wealth. 2,000 years ago, a small city on the banks of the Tiber River rose to dominate the world. Not with magic, not with miracles, but with a system so powerful, the world still follows it today. Rome didn't just build an empire. Rome built the blueprint of global power. When Rome started, it was nothing. A tiny village surrounded by stronger kingdoms, no gold, no massive army, no technology. And yet, this small republic would rise to control Europe, Africa, and Asia. It would build roads that still exist today, armies the world feared, and laws still used in modern governments. But the question is simple. How did Rome do it? How did one city become the world's first true superpower? If you want to understand how Rome became unstoppable, you need to look at something far more important than swords, armies, or emperors. You need to look at discipline, because Rome did not win by chance. Rome won because every Roman, soldier or citizen, followed a system stronger than any enemy they faced. A Roman soldier wasn't just trained, he was engineered. From the moment a young recruit joined the legions, his entire life changed. He marched 20 miles a day, carrying armor that weighed more than a modern backpack. He learned to build roads, bridges, and camps in record time. And above all, he learned one rule. Discipline is victory. To a Roman soldier, losing formation was worse than losing a battle, because Rome believed that an army that moved as one could defeat any force on earth. And they proved it. Every Roman camp, even temporary ones, was built with the same precision as a modern blueprint. Straight roads, defensive walls, towers, barracks, command centers. A Roman general could walk into any camp, anywhere in the empire, and instantly know where everything was. This wasn't convenience, this was power. Because an organized army reacts faster, strikes harder, and controls fear better. Most kingdoms fought with passion. Rome fought with structure. But the secret didn't stop with the army. Roman society itself was trained in order. Families respected hierarchy. Government respected law. Citizens respected duty. A Roman child grew up learning that service to the state was a responsibility. And honor came from discipline, not wealth. This mindset produced not just soldiers, but engineers, governors, builders, and thinkers who shaped the empire day by day. This was Rome's real superpower, not the size of its armies, not the brilliance of its generals, but a culture where structure mattered more than strength. A disciplined society, a disciplined army, a disciplined empire. This was the engine that pushed Rome toward its destiny, to become the first true superpower in history. Rome didn't rise on luck. It rose on a system so advanced that no other civilization of its time could match it. And at the heart of this system was something every empire dreams of: control. Control over land, control over people, control over money, control over information. Let's break down the machinery that made Rome unstoppable. Rome created something revolutionary, a standing, full-time, trained army, not farmers with spears, not temporary militias, but soldiers who trained every single day. Strict discipline, standardized weapons, coordinated formations, engineering skills, long-range communication. They weren't just fighters, they were builders. A Roman legion could build a bridge in hours. cut through a forest in a day, and construct a fortress in a week. Wherever Rome marched, civilization followed. This army didn't just defend the empire, it created it. All roads lead to Rome. That wasn't poetry, it was strategy. Rome built more than 400,000 kilometers of roads. Stone roads, straight as arrows, cutting through mountains and deserts. These roads did three things: moved armies faster than any enemy, carried trade across continents, kept distant provinces connected to the capital information, money, soldiers, laws. Everything traveled on these roads. Rome basically built the world's first high-speed logistical network. Rome understood something timeless. A strong empire is built on strong rules. They wrote laws, standardized them, and enforced them across thousands of kilometers. Property rights, contracts, citizenship, taxation, trade, rules. These laws created trust, and trust created massive economic activity. Merchants from distant lands knew that Roman courts would protect them. It was the world's first global business environment. Rome invested like no other ancient civilization. Aqueducts, harbors, grain storage systems, sewage networks, public baths, amphitheaters, government complexes. These weren't luxuries, they were tools of control and unity. When a city had water, food, entertainment, and jobs, it stayed loyal. Infrastructure was Rome's invisible chain. People didn't want to rebel against a system that made their lives better. Rome mastered money. Instead of squeezing provinces with endless taxes, they built systems that made provinces want to generate wealth. More trade equals more tax revenue. More stability equals more commerce. More roads equals more movement. Gold and silver from across Europe, Africa, and Asia flowed into Roman markets. Rome became the financial center of the ancient world. Military force created the empire, but systems maintained it. Rome wasn't just a place. It was a machine of roads, laws, soldiers, and money, all working together with near-perfect efficiency. This was the true secret behind the world's first superpower. Rome didn't just conquer land. It conquered the idea of civilization. Every region Rome touched was transformed forever. They built roads where there was only dust. They created courts where there was only tribal law. They introduced standardized currency where trade once depended on trust alone. Roman engineers carved aqueducts across mountains. Roman governors organized cities with public baths, theaters, and marketplaces. And Roman soldiers enforced a stability that many regions had never experienced. But the real legacy wasn't the empire itself. It was the blueprint Rome left behind. Long after Roman banners fell, their influence stayed alive. European legal systems, modern architecture, global trade networks, military organization, taxation models, and even languages spoken by billions today. The world didn't just remember Rome. The world became Roman. Rome didn't build an empire for its time. It built the framework for future civilizations. From London to Paris, from Washington to Istanbul. The empire vanished, but the Roman way of thinking became the foundation of the modern world. Rome didn't dominate the world by accident. It built a system, a machine, that turned every citizen, every soldier, and every conquered land into fuel for its empire. At the heart of this system was a simple idea. Wealth must flow, always. Gold, grain, taxes, trade. Nothing was allowed to stand still. Money kept moving, and because money moved, Rome grew. Rome created one of the earliest structured taxation systems. Every province paid taxes, but the genius was how Rome used it. Instead of storing wealth, Rome reinvested it into roads, military strength, ports, bridges, aqueducts, public buildings. Every coin collected came back as power. A farm in Gaul, a silver mine in Spain, a spice caravan from Arabia, a merchant ship in the Mediterranean, all of it flowed toward one center, Rome. And the Roman denarius was the heart of this machine, a silver coin, trusted across continents. One currency binding dozens of cultures into one economic world. This wasn't just money, this was control. When Rome introduced its currency into a conquered region, it didn't just change the economy, it changed identity. You became part of Rome's financial bloodstream. This is why the empire lasted centuries, not because its legions were strong, but because its economic system was stronger. Other empires ruled with fear. Rome ruled with structure, and structure outlives strength. Rome did not fall in one day, and it did not rise in one day either. For centuries, Rome dominated the world, not because it had the strongest swords, but because it had the strongest systems. Systems that created discipline, infrastructure, economic stability, and unified identity. This is the real secret history leaves behind. Nations don't rise through power. Power rises through organization. Rome taught the world that roads are wealth, that stability is wealth, that trust in currency is wealth, and that empires collapse not when enemies attack, but when systems weaken from within. Today, our world looks nothing like ancient Rome. We have skyscrapers instead of stone temples, digital banks instead of silver coins, global trade instead of desert caravans. But the rules? They're still the same. Every economy, every superpower, every government today still runs on the foundations Rome built 2,000 years ago. And that is why Rome matters. Because if we understand how Rome rose and why it fell, we understand the world we live in today. The empire is gone. The marble is broken. But the lessons, they survived.